Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera. Selamat datang kepada guru-guru dan pelajar-pelajar ke program Guru Muda Maya 2024 anjuran SMK Taman Maluri dengan kolaborasi bersama YPC International College. Untuk makluman pelajar, program malam ini akan diteruskan lagi dengan subjek Bahasa Inggeris. Oleh itu, saya mempersilakan wakil SMK Taman Maluri untuk meneruskan acara program.
Semua boleh dengar ke? Dengar tak? Dengar tak? Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera. Salam SMK Taman Maluri Gemilang Bersama dan salam GMM SMK Taman Maluri YPC diucapkan warga Maya khususnya kepada guru-guru dan rakan-rakan calon SPM 2024. Mencari timba si anak dara di bawah sarang burung tempur. Salam sembah, pembuka bicara, selamat datang untuk semua. Selamat berjumpa secara maya. Saya Puteri Alzara Patricia binti Muhammad Nordin dari SMK Taman Maluri dan pada malam ini saya merupakan hos anda bagi program Guru Muda Maya anjuran SMK Taman Maluri Kuala Lumpur dengan kerjasama YPC International College. SPM semakin mendekati kita semua, jadi semestinya kita jangan alpa untuk membuat persiapan yang rapi seawal mungkin. Pada malam ini, Guru Muda Maya kita ialah Trishali Sanjana Pravin akan bersama-sama kita selama 1 jam untuk membincangkan subjek English. Sepanjang siaran ini berlangsung, diharapkan rakan-rakan menggunakan ruangan sembang secara berhemah dan jika ada sebarang soalan juga, boleh tulis di ruangan sembang. Tanpa melengahkan masa, saya mempersilakan Trishali Sanjana Pravin untuk mengupas subjek English. Dipersilakan.
Okay, thank you, Elzara. So hello everyone and good evening. I hope all of y'all are doing well. So today I will be discussing about Bahasa Inggeris or English. So allow me to share my screen. Semua boleh nampak screen ke? Can everyone see my presentation? Okay, thank you. Okay, so today I will be talking about tenses. I think all of y'all are very familiar with tenses, but I just want to refresh your memory on the importance of tenses and how to use the different tenses. So let us start with today's lesson. For your information, we actually have 6 different tenses that we use in the English language. These tenses are actually very important in your paper 2, especially when you need to write essays or stories. When you read the question, you need to identify what tense they want the answer in, whether it's in past tense, present tense, or future tense. So the 6 tenses that we have, firstly is simple present tense, present continuous tense, simple past tense, past continuous tense, present perfect, and also future tense. So I will explain a little bit about simple present tense first. So what do we use simple present tense for? The first thing is to say if something is a fact or something is true. So for example, the human body contains 206 bones. So that is a fact, benda tu tak boleh dinafikan. Tu memang dah set dah. It's a fakta. So, and you're gonna say I'm a student, which is also true. Okay, I think that's the first one. The second use is for routine or a habit. For example, he plays football every weekend or I go to school every day. That's when you use simple present tense. Okay. The present tense is the base form of the verb. We don't really add anything unless it's in singular. So for example, I work in London, but with the third person singular, which is either she, he, or it, we have to add an S at the back. So instead of she work, it becomes she works in London. Okay, because it's a third person singular. But for I, we use it in the base form. We don't add any S or any other additional letters. Okay. Next, we move on to, we often use do and does to make questions with the present simple. So, for example, if it's where do Angela and Rita live? So we use do there to make questions. What does Angela do? Does is for a third person singular. So when it's she, he, or it, that's when we use does. Does she go to school? You use does. You cannot use do. It's wrong. Okay. But for I, we use do. Do I go to school? Okay. But with Christians who often don't use do or does, it's just who, we don't need to use do and does. So it's just who lives in London, who plays football during the weekend. You don't have to add do or does. Just the present simple tense. And some examples of negative simple present tense sentences are I don't play the piano, but I play the guitar. They don't work during the weekend. And John doesn't live in Manchester. So for present simple tense, you just need to know when to use do and does. I think that's the only confusing part. But if you understand that, then you shouldn't really have much of a problem. So far, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask about simple present tense? Okay. So I think if no one has any questions, then I'll continue on to the next tense, which is present continuous tense. This is also one that we use very frequently. So for example, when do we use it? So activities at the moment of speaking. So right now I am speaking, so I would say, so you can say Trisha is speaking to a class right now. Something that is happening right now, benda yang sedang berlaku. That's when we use present continuous tense. For example, you can see on the screen, I'm just leaving work. I'll be home in an hour. Please be quiet. The children are sleeping. Okay, so that's when you use it. So for present continuous tense, you have to add ing to the verb. So speak becomes speaking once you add ing. Walk becomes walking. Do becomes doing, and so on. Okay. Make sure when you use present continuous tense, you add ing. That's how you can identify whether it's a present continuous tense. One of the things is that they have ing at the back. So it's very easy to identify. Okay. How do we make questions using present continuous tense? We have to put am, is, or are in front of the subjects to make it grammatically correct. So for example, are you listening? Are they coming to your party? When is she going home? And what am I doing here? As you can see, all have ing and all either have are, is, or am at the beginning or in the center of the sentence. Okay. Yeah. And the third one is how to make negative sentences. So we add not or n apostrophe t after am, is, or are. For example, I'm not doing that. Or you aren't listening to me, or you are not listening to me, you're not listening to me. There's many ways you can say aren't, are not, you're not. As long as the word not is there, there's a negative word, then your sentence should be correct. Okay. Another example is they aren't coming to the party, or they're not coming to the party. Okay, or they are not coming to the party if you want to put the full sentence. She isn't going home until Monday. She's not going home until Monday, or she is not going home until Monday. So there are three ways to write that, depending on where you want to put the apostrophe and where you want to shorten the word. Or you can write the full sentence as well. It's not wrong. Okay. So for present continuous tense, all you have to remember is add ing to the verb. And you need to put am, is, or are in front of the subject when you want to make questions. And for negative sentences, you just put not after am, is, or are. Three things. Present continuous tense is also something that's very common in our exams and so on. We even use it when we're speaking in daily life. Okay. Anyone have any questions on present continuous tense? Any part that isn't clear or that I talk too fast, please do let me know. I will rewind. So I'm going to take that as a no. I will move on to the next tense, which is simple past tense. Okay. So when do we use simple past tense? We use it to talk about something that happened in the past. So such as I began to work early this morning, or I went to school in the morning. That is past tense, yeah. Another time we use simple past tense is for something that happened several times in the past, something that is repetitive in the past. Okay, such as when I was a boy, I walked to school every day. Okay. And then another thing we use simple past tense for is something that was true for some time in the past. For example, I lived in China for 10 years. Okay. And we often use expressions with ago with the past simple. For example, Harry met his best friend a long time ago. Okay. So for past tense, we normally add ed at the back of a sentence, or for some words are actually special, as you can see, began and met. So the present tense or the original form of began is begin. So to become past tense, we change it to began. And met, the current, like the original one is meet, but they change it to met. So some words are a little special, so you have to remember that. But most of the basic verbs, we just add ed at the back. That's how you know it's past tense. Okay. Yeah. So how do you make questions in the past simple? You put did, did. So did she play piano when she was younger? Did she go to school today morning? Did she have dinner? And so on. Okay. Yeah. And how do you make negative sentences? Is you add, so previously we use does, but for past tense we use did not to make the sentence, or didn't. That's the shortened form. So for example, they didn't come to the party last night. Oh, it's a pity we didn't visit Tom when we had the chance. Okay. Any questions so far on simple past tense? Okay. If no one has any questions, I assume everyone understands. So I would like to give y'all a little like test. Can you guys try to make a sentence using a past tense? Like pick any verb, but make a sentence in the past tense. And then you can put it in the chat box. So I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to come up with a short sentence. It doesn't have to be complicated, as long as it's in the past tense. So yeah, I'll give you guys 5 minutes, or maybe 3 minutes. 5 minutes is a little long. So 3 minutes to come up with a sentence, and then we'll check and discuss it together. Okay, so Mahadev put Faris met his long distance relatives yesterday. Yes, that is correct because he used met. So he used met, so that is correct. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay. I lived in Kajang before I moved to Ampang, correct? Because the part you can see from the ED that is in past tense. I woke up early. Okay, so for woke up, there's no D at the end. It's just I woke up early this morning. There's no D because those are kind of like the special verbs. Did she attend the class yesterday? That's also correct. Did she attend the class? Yes, that's correct because the word yesterday shows that's in past tense. They didn't go to school yesterday, correct? Because did not or didn't, and yesterday it shows past tense. He bought a new car last week is also correct. Yes, okay. So I think everyone understands about past tense. So that's good. So we're going to move on to the next tense, which will be slightly more confusing, which is past continuous tense. So past continuous tense has many different functions. So we'll go through one by one. The first time we use past continuous tense is to show that something continued for some time in the past. For example, my head was aching. So the word was shows that it was in past tense. Aching showed that it was continuous in the past tense. Okay? Everyone was shouting. It's past tense, but the ing shows that it was continuing in the past tense. Okay? The next one is to compare two finished actions in the past. So for example, the children were doing their homework when I got home. Okay? This one also were is a past tense. Doing is the showing the continuous. Got is past tense. Okay. This use of past continuous tense is actually very common at the beginning of a story. For example, the other day I was waiting for a bus when something happened. Last week as I was driving to work, something happened. So we use this a lot of times to start our stories or to start a sentence. Describing an action at a particular time in the past. For example, it was 8 o'clock. I was writing a letter. Or so this mentioned the specific time and what they were doing at that time, but it's in the past because it already happened. Okay. So for something that happened again and again in the past, something that happened many times, like a routine in the past. For example, I was practicing every day for a month. They were meeting secretly after school. Okay. Or we have school meetings every week or something like that. Something that's happened continuously in the past. Okay. So how do we form the past continuous by using the simple past form of the verb to be? So the verb to be was in this case, we're using was, were, and the main verb in the ing form. So for example, you were reading a book. This is very common sentence in the past continuous tense. You have was or were and then plus the verb and ing. So I was listening to my teacher, or I was doing my homework when someone fell down. Okay. So as for past continuous tense, you need to mention that was and were. Okay. So to make questions, we invert the verb was or were and the subject. So the to be verb comes in the front and the ing goes after the subject. So for example, were you reading a book? Were you listening to the teacher? Were you making plans? Or was she paying attention in class? Was she at the meeting? So it's either were or was. Any questions on past continuous tense? I know it's a little confusing. So if you have any questions or any part that wasn't very clear that you want me to explain more, please do let me know. So if there are no questions, okay, thank you. If there are no questions, I'm gonna ask y'all to do the same thing. Maybe you can pick either 1, 2, 3, or 4, and maybe try to make a sentence based on that function. Okay? I'll give you a little more time for this, maybe 5 minutes, because it's slightly more confusing. If you want to challenge yourself, try making a sentence based on number 2, because you have to use 2 different tenses. So yeah, 5 minutes from now, if you already have your sentence, you can put it in the chat and then we'll discuss it together. Okay, some of y'all have shared your answers, so I'll read them first. While I was studying for my exam last night, my roommate was listening to music in the living room, and outside it was raining heavily. Okay, so the usage of the tense is correct, but and outside it was raining heavily, you can change it to and it was raining heavily outside. Put the outside at the end or after the heavily. That sounds better and it's more correct. Okay. She was speaking in front of everyone. Also correct. In front has a gap. You have to separate the words. Just remember that. Someone knocked the door when my mom was cooking. Correct. That is when you compare two finished actions as shown in number 2. What were you doing an hour ago? Oh, yeah, that's correct. An hour ago. I was taking a shower when the phone rang. Also correct. Very good. Okay. So I think most of y'all understand how to use the past continuous tense. If any of you want to keep sharing your answers or your sentences, please do. We will come back to that and we will discuss more together. Okay. So if it is okay, I'm going to move on with our next tense, which is present perfect tense. Present perfect. Yeah. So we use the present perfect for something that started in the past and continues in the present. So for example, they've been married for nearly 50 years and she has lived in Liverpool all her life. So one thing you need to remember, 2 things you need to remember about present perfect is this is the rules. Number one is the verb has to be in the form of past participle. Okay? And the second thing is you have to have has or have in your sentence. So that's how you can identify if something is in the present perfect tense. So let's move on to the second usage, which is when we are talking about our experience up to the present. For example, I've seen that film before. Oh, I've played the guitar since I was a teenager. So the I apostrophe VE stands for I have. I have seen that film before. You have the word have, and then seen is the past participle of see. Okay? I've played the guitar ever since I was a teenager. I have played the guitar ever since I was a teenager. Played is the past participle of play. Okay? And for the first example, they've been married for nearly 50 years. They have been married for nearly 50 years. Have is the verb, and then been is the past participle of be. Okay, not married, been. Been is the past participle. Okay. And she has lived in Liverpool. So has and lived is the past participle of live. Okay. Any questions on the function or the usage of present perfect? Something you don't understand? So I'm going to take that as a no. Sorry. So for the past participle, normally they either have ed in the back, that's how you know it's a past participle, or for some irregular verbs, such as met or seen, they might have a different spelling. So you can check back on that in the dictionary, or even in some of your textbooks, they actually have a reference page at the back that shows the past participle form of some irregular verbs. Okay. Yeah. Next, we often use the adverb ever to talk about an experience up to the present. So, for example, my last birthday was the worst day I have ever had. Okay. Oh, tomorrow will be my last. Oh no. Today is not today. I don't like that. Yeah. I'll think of a sentence. My last birthday was the worst day I have ever had. She was the worst friend I ever had. Or she's the worst teacher I've ever seen. Okay, there are many ways to use the word ever. It's a little difficult, but once you understand, it should be okay. And we use never for the negative form. So ever is the positive form, never is the negative form. For example, have you ever met George? Have you ever met George? So ever is the positive form. Yes, but I've never met his wife. Never is the negative form. Okay. So that's number two. The third usage is to talk about actions that happened in the past, but we don't specify when they happened. So earlier you learned that for past continuous tense, you describe an action at a particular time in the past. But for present perfect, an action happened in the past, but you don't tell when it happened or what time. There's no specific time of when it happened. So for example, I have been to London. You cannot say I have been to London last year. Then it doesn't really, I went to London last year sounds better. Okay? So if you want to use present perfect, you don't specify when it happened. I have been to London, or I have met her, but you don't say when you met this person or when you went to London. There's no specific time. But for for past continuous, you have to say a specific time or a particular time. Like for example, it was 8 o'clock and I was writing a letter. So don't get confused on that. Make sure you know that for present perfect, there's no specific time. For past continuous, there is a specific or a particular time. Okay. Any questions on number 3? No. No questions? Okay. So we will move on with how to use have and has been. Okay. We use have and has been when someone has gone to a place and they've returned. For example, have you ever been to San Francisco? No, but I've been to Los Angeles. So they've already went to Los Angeles, but now they've come back. For example, another example for me. Have you ever seen No. Have you ever been to UCSI? Yes, I've been to UCSI. But you've already gone to that place and you've already come back. So you're not still at that place. You guys understand? Yeah, I hope you do. Okay. So just remember, it's someone who has already gone to a place and they've already returned. If they're still at that place, then it's continuous. But if they've already returned, then it's present perfect. Okay? Okay, but when someone has not returned, we use have or has gone. For example, where's Maria? I haven't seen her for weeks. She's gone to Paris. She has gone to Paris. And she'll be back tomorrow. So she's there, but she hasn't returned yet. So if they've already gone to a place and have already come home, or they've already returned, we use have and has been. But if they've gone and have not returned, then we use have or has gone. So remember, it's either been or gone. Okay, been or gone are both past participle. Been is the past participle of be, and gone is the past participle of go. Okay. Any questions on present perfect? It is slightly more confusing compared to past and the regular present tense and so on. No questions? Okay, if no questions, same thing. I'm going to ask you to make a simple sentence. It doesn't have to be long, just so that I know you understand how to use present perfect tense. So again, I'll give you around 3 to 5 minutes to come up with a sentence. And then once you're done, we'll discuss together again and move on to the last tense, which is future tense. Okay, so I've been on a roller coaster. That is correct. You can say I have been on a roller coaster. That is referring to the usage of number 2, experience up to the present. I've just finished reading a fascinating book that I started last week, and I've already recommended it to several friends who love similar genres. That is a very good sentence. It is using the correct present perfect tense, and it's also very long and nice. I've been trained in first aid. It's also correct. I have been trained in first aid. Have and been is the past participle, so you are correct. Okay, so I can see that most of y'all understand. We'll move on to the last tense, which is future tense. Okay. I think future tense, you can already guess that we use it to express beliefs about the future. Okay, so and in future tense, you will see the word will a lot. That is the most common word in future tense. So we use will when we express about beliefs about the future. It will be a nice day tomorrow. I'm sure you will enjoy the film. It will not rain tomorrow. Okay, so it's something that we believe will happen in the future. That's when we use will. Okay. Another time we use will is to mean want or be willing to. You want to do something or you're willing to do something. For example, I hope you will come to my party. George says he will help us. I hope you will learn something during the lesson. Okay, so it's something you want. So that's when you use will as well. The third one is to make offers and promises. For example, I will see you tomorrow, or we'll send you an email. You can use I will or I apostrophe LL, I'll, will. It means the same thing. So you can use that as well. I'll see you tomorrow, or I will see you tomorrow. We'll send you an email, or we will send you an email. Okay, just make sure you put the apostrophe in the correct place and you should be okay. The last one is to talk about offers and promises. So the number 3 was to make offers or promises. Number 4 is to talk about offers and promises. Tim will be at the meeting. That's a promise. Mary will help with the cooking. I don't think will is much of a problem because we use it very frequently. Even if you don't know it, we use will a lot to talk about the future. I think that's one of the main verbs we use to talk about the future. Okay. Negative future tenses using will, not, or won't. And be going to also. Okay. For example, I'm not going to eat out this evening. Or Laura won't attend the party today, or Laura will not be attending. Laura will not attend the party today. And so this is for will. We're going to move on to be going to. Another very common one that we use in future tense. So we use be going to talk about plans or intentions. So I'm going to drive to work today. They are going to move to Manchester. We are going to plan a party, or we are going to sit for our SPM examination. Something that is already like a plan or an intention in the future. Or we are going to have a picnic. We are going to have a party. We're going to have another class tonight. Okay, so it's a plan that's going to happen in the future or an intention that will happen in the future. Okay. We also use be going to make predictions based on evidence that we can see. So for example, be careful, you are going to fall because I can see that you might fall. Okay, so when someone looks like they're going to fall, you obviously will tell them, oh, be careful, you're going to fall because you can see that that's going to happen. So it's a prediction based on something that you can see. It's an observation, basically. Not an observation, a prediction now. Okay. look at those black clouds. I think it's going to rain. Because of the black clouds, you can predict or you can guess that it might rain today. So that's when you use be going to. And questions using will and be going to. When will he give you an answer? Why won't you tell him the truth? Am I going to feel bad about my decision? Is he going to watch the film tonight? Okay, so remember for future tense, they have two main things, which is will and be going to. Okay. Also, I think shouldn't be a problem because you actually use future tense more often than you realize. You know, when you want to make plans in the future, of course you have to use future tense. When you talk about anything in the future, you have to use future tense, obviously. So, but again, to check whether you understand what we discussed so far, I'm going to give you around 2 minutes to create a simple sentence using either will or be going to. You can choose which one you prefer. Or you can make one sentence you can make one of each as well. It's up to you. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. So the first one is I will join the party tonight, which is correct. And then I will go to vacation tomorrow is slightly incorrect. I will go on vacation tomorrow. Or I will go for a vacation tomorrow. That is more accurate. But the use of the tense is correct. I'll see you at football pitch. I'll see you at the football pitch to make it sound more accurate. In the future, I will pursue my dream of becoming a professional photographer by enrolling in photography courses, attending workshops, practicing consistently, building a strong portfolio, and eventually establishing my own photography business. Yes, that is correct because it's something you want in the future, so that is very correct. It's a very nice sentence. I am going to embark on an exciting journey towards achieving my goal of becoming fluent in Spanish by enrolling in language classes. Also correct, because it's a plan and an intention that you want to do in the future. Very accurate. Okay. Good job, everyone. All of you guys, I can see that all of you understand how to use tenses. So hopefully you will have no trouble in identifying the right tense to use when writing your essays, especially in paper 2. So I have a short quiz about tenses. There are already 5 questions, so it shouldn't take very long. Yeah, let me just share my screen to that page. Okay. Tenses quiz. Okay, so there are 5 questions. They are all multiple choice questions. So just you can just type in the chat what your answer is. So we'll start with the first one. Why do you live in France? Is it a present perfect sentence? Is it B, a present continuous sentence? Or C, is it a present simple sentence? So you have to identify what tense is used in this question or in this sentence. Just put A, B, or C in the chat. Don't worry if you're not sure, just take a wild guess. Don't worry if it's wrong. We're here to learn, so it's okay to make mistakes now as long as you don't make mistakes in your exam, right? So yeah, feel free to share your answer. Someone said present continuous. Why do you live in France? Okay, present continuous as well. Anyone else want to try? Anyone has a different answer? You would choose C. Okay, present simple. Okay. Now we have options for B and C. Anyone with a different answer or with a similar answer? Okay. So someone C. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of C's now. Okay, so I'm just gonna move on to the answer. The correct answer is C, present simple. Present continuous is inaccurate because there's no like I mentioned, if it's present continuous, you will know because there'll be ing. In this sentence, unfortunately, there's no ing. Why do you live in France is it's something true. It's like the answer will be a fact. It'll be something true. So present simple is more accurate. It's okay, Mahadev. We all make mistakes as long as you learn something. Okay, question number 2. Most major cities significantly over the last 30 years. A, grew, B, have grown, or C, will grow. Grew is past tense. Have grown is present perfect. And will grow is future tense. So read the sentence properly, identify what tense is used in the sentence, and then only pick your answer. Your hint should be your hint should be over the last 30 years. That's your hint. Okay, a lot of people saying B, B, B. Oh, one with A. Okay. I like to see the variety. Okay, so let's see what the correct answer is. The correct answer is B, have grown. It's present perfect. Okay. Why do we say it's present perfect? Because it's something that is still like going on. It hasn't stopped yet. Grew significantly over the last 30 years. Grew is not wrong, but have grown is more accurate. Okay. So yeah, these are kind of the questions where you will get slightly confused, but it's okay. Third questions. Did Tara phone you yesterday? A, is it a past simple? B, past continuous? Or C, present perfect? Take some time, read the question properly. Someone said A. A lot of y'all saying A. Okay. The answer is A. I think this is really simple. The word yesterday and did should tell you that it's past simple. Okay. Next question, number 4. I'm tired. I ... for 3 hours. A, have studied for 3 hours. B, have been studying for 3 hours. Or C, had been studying for 3 hours. This one's a little tricky. Make sure you read properly, think back about present perfect, and then answer. Sorry, I just realized the slide didn't move. Okay, this is the question. Okay. Yeah, I'm tired. I have studied for 3 hours. I have been studying for 3 hours. I had been studying for 3 hours. A variety of answers. Got some people saying B, some people saying A. Someone asked to explain again the meaning of past perfect. So while you guys are answering this, so we have many different uses of past perfect, but the first one was, oh, sorry, past perfect or present perfect? Present perfect, sorry, my bad. The first one is for something that started in the past but continues in the present. So that's why for the question earlier, it says have some cities have grown over the past 30 years. They have grown, but they're still continuing to grow. So that's why we use present perfect. Grew is past tense. I mean, they've already grew and they've already stopped growing. So it's not very accurate to use that. So we use present perfect. The main thing is for something that started in the past, but it still continues in the future. Okay. Kimi, I hope you understand now. I know you were slightly confused. Okay. So back to question number 4. Yes. So a lot of people are saying A. We have a couple B's. But a lot of people are saying A. So the correct answer is actually B. I'm tired. I have been studying for 3 hours. Actually, A is not wrong lah. I have studied for 3 hours, but have been studying for 3 hours, it's more accurate. Have studied is not wrong, but if you want to be accurate, have been studying for 3 hours is better. Okay. And the last question is, don't make so much noise. Noriko ... to study for her ESL test. Noriko try to study, Noriko tries to study, or Noriko is trying to study. I think this is pretty simple. You guys should be able to get the hint. Try is simple present. Tries is also simple present. Is trying is continuous. Simple continuous. Oh, sorry, present continuous. Oh, okay, we actually have a lot of different answers. Some people are saying B. I saw an A somewhere, but majority is saying C. So the correct answer is actually C. Noriko is trying to study for ESL test because it's something that is it's something that is continuously happening in the future. Something that's not in the future, in the present. So we can't use tries. We have to use is trying. Okay? But yeah, that is all for today's class with me. I hope you guys learned something, or you guys are more you know more about tenses now and how to use it, when to use it, what is the right form, and so on. Anyone have any last questions before I sign off for tonight? You want me to explain something in more detail, or you want me to explain something again that you don't understand? Everyone's okay? Okay. Explain which one, Haslia? I heard N is used for A-E-I-O-U. Yes, N is used for A-E-I-O-U. So we use or A basically for consonants like B, C, D. But for A-E-I-O-U, we use N. Okay. But one special word is our and umbrella and our. And for umbrella, we don't use N either. We use A umbrella, not N. I don't know. Yeah. So that's just the special ones. Did you have heard of the verb to be method? Yes. So I did explain earlier about verb to be. Wait, let me go back to the previous slide so that you know what I mean by that. Verb to be. So for those of you who are wondering what verb to be is, I'm not sure where I explained it earlier, but verb to be is basically was, were. That is verb to be. In the past tense, that is what verb to be is. Was, were. Verb to be is am, is, are. Okay? But if it's in the past tense, we will add was or were. But the three main verb to be's is am, is, and are. Okay? I hope you guys understand that. Like an apple. Yes, that is correct. An apple. You have the verb to be method. Yeah. So verb to be, three main ones, am, is, and are. Okay. We use am for I, am I. Is for she, he, and it. She is, he is, it is. Okay. And they, we, you, we use are. They are, you are, we are. Okay. So we have two different uses like singular and plural. Yes, they have three ones. So for three of those, they have different uses, whether it's singular or plural. Okay. For plural, we use are. For singular, we use am and is. No, for singular, we use is. For I is special, we use am. Okay. So that's what you have to remember. If it's in the past tense, becomes was. So she, instead of she is, it becomes she was. And instead of I am, it also becomes I was. Okay. And then are becomes were. They were, we were, you were. Okay. So that is verb to be. Okay. We were is we are. Yes, were is we are. You can use we are, you can use were as well. Both are correct. There's nothing wrong about that. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Did you understand the verb to be? I hope you did. Anyone? No? Okay. So if there are no more questions, thank you guys so much for joining the class tonight. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you know more about English now. I'll see you again soon whenever it's my next turn to teach. But until then, thank you and good night, everyone.
Terima kasih kepada Guru Muda Maya SMK TM YPC kita pada malam ini, Cici Sanjana. Ucapan terima kasih juga diucapkan kepada guru pembimbing, Teacher Najiha. Tidak lupa juga kepada rakan-rakan yang sudi bersama kita secara maya. Jangan lupa selepas ini akan ada slot yang kedua untuk subjek perniagaan dan biologi pada pukul 9.10 malam. Saya harap rakan-rakan memanfaatkan ilmu yang dikongsikan sebentar tadi dalam peperiksaan SPM nanti. Semoga berjumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum, selamat sejahtera. Terima kasih.